From that political slugfest now to what's perhaps an intellectual conversation in Tamil cinema, sparked off by actor Kamal Haasan. For decades, Tamil film and political personalities, remember, have had titles endowed upon them by their fans, a term of endearment, and the film industry itself, which often became the way they were referred to with reverence and respect. For instance, Kamal Haasan was referred to as Ulaganayagan, or the universal hero or actor. Today, he's decided just Kamal or Kamal Haasan or KH is enough for him. In a letter expressing gratitude for the endearing titles endowed on him, he has said, and I quote, "It's my humble belief that an artist must not be elevated above the art, and I prefer to remain grounded," unquote. He further adds, and I quote, "Please know this decision comes from a place of humility, not wanting to set off a controversy of sorts." Tamil cinema and politics, remember, have been known, as I mentioned, for titles to important personalities like Puratchi Thalaivar or revolutionary leader for M.G. Ramachandran, the late Chief Minister, Nadigar Tilagam, or the pride of actors for Sivaji Ganesan, Kalaignar or artist for the late M. Karunanidhi, Puratchi Thalaivi or revolutionary leader for a woman for J. Jayalalitha, of course superstar as we all know for Rajnikant, and Thalapathy or general for Vijay. Even several directors, lyricists, music directors are referred to by their titles and not their names in popular discourse. So is it time perhaps for actors to get over their titles? What does it refer? Does it show the larger-than-life image? Joining us this evening, noted entertainment journalist Lata Srinivasan, who's followed and studied Tamil cinema very closely. Also actor Sanjana Galrani for a film world perspective. Lata, first up to you. I mean, we're a generation which grew up referring to Rajnikant as the superstar or MGR as Puratchi Thalaivar. Is it time to move on from the title that have been endowed upon actors? As Kamal says, he'd like to remain grounded. What do you think? Should the rest take the lead? Should the society take a lead from what Kamal Haasan's saying?
Good evening, Virag. I think that's a good question. But as you know, in South India, giving an epithet for an actor is something which is usually bestowed on by fans and by directors themselves. For instance, Kamal Haasan got the moniker Ulaganayagan from director K.S. Ravi Kumar in 2000, with whom he worked with. And Superstar was bestowed on Rajnikant by another producer, who he's done numerous films. Today, you have a global star Ramcharan, you have rebel star Prabhas. So I think these are monikers which the fans bestow on them, and it's not something that'll easily go away. It's part of the culture here and the fandom in South cinema.
Interesting that you say that. Remember, let's not forget that largely, and if history, it comes from the old Dravidian movement itself in terms of titling big actors and stars. For instance, Puratchi Thalaivar, the title to MGR was apparently given by M. Karunanidhi himself. Sanjana Galrani, is this all part of creating that fan universe for a star? What do you think of stars who may want to walk beyond that? Even young stars now who are coming into Tamil or South Indian cinema, as Lata was pointing out, have their titles and their ceremonious, surnames given to them.
I think this is a culture all across India, not just in South India. Like for Shah Rukh Khan, you would call him the king of Bollywood, or you would call him King Khan. And for Salman Khan, you would call him Bollywood ka Badshah, box office ka Badshah. So we have those titles doing the rounds with the fans, and it's their eternal love, And on the other hand, what is happening is people are also getting more realistic by the time, It's very overwhelming for them to, with Thalapathy Vijay, he was always called Ilaya Thalapathy, the Prince King. That's what it means in English. But now
that was when N.K. Stalin was called Thalapathy in the DMK.
Yeah, but now he switched to, no, don't call me Ilaya because I'm not that young. I'm not Prince, but we still, with love, call him Thalapathy Vijay itself, because Vijay is a common name. Many Vijays are there in the industry, but the second you say Thalapathy Vijay, it's just the one and only Thalapathy Vijay we are referring to, whom we all love. And in South India, they also have a culture. Like I have worked with all these superstars, with Mohanlal sir, with Mammootty sir, with Shiraj Kumar, with Darshan, with Prabhas, and I have seen them people don't look with Pawan Kalyan especially. I was spellbound when I was at the audio release. People are like moving like a cyclone wave over there inside a 5-star hotel, not even in an open ground in the convention hall. And I was like, what is happening? And I had Kajal Agarwal next to me, and I looked at her. I'm like, is this how it happens all the time with all the superstars? Because she's worked with more superstars than me. She's like, Sanjana, this is one of a kind. And people just believe that their superstar, their superhero is God for real. And I have seen it. I've got goosebumps on the stage. I remember meeting Rajnikant sir at the Kochardian audio release. People would tear their clothes when the star comes in front, you know. That's the kind of eternal love that
Right.
these actors get here. And they also have temples on their names. Not only actors, even actresses. These days, the number of temples have come down, but in the initial days, the previous generation, say about 10 years ago, you would have so many actresses who have temples after their names which are built. People are emotional, they have pure love
Right,
in
for
their
instance,
hearts for that
Nayanthara is
star.
called Lady Superstar now, Lata.
Yeah.
In a sense, it's about immortalizing. It's also part of the business of the film world in terms of developing that fan cult, which works as a business thing as well, right? So, how do we, the actor, the star, and then there is that person as well. I think the point Kamal Hassan's trying to make is that don't make me bigger than what I am. It should be about my films and my work, not about my stardom. How do we see that? I mean, it's a fine, nuanced, intellectual point.
But in Kamal Hassan's case, especially now that he's also a politician, I think his strategy is to project himself more as a politician than just as a universal hero. Because in 2018, when he stepped into politics, he said, now I'm Nammavar, that is one among you. Don't call me
One
Ulaganayagan.
amongst
That
you.
was what he started with in 2018 when, he set out with his political party.
Political
But
aspirations.
yes, today he's all set to become an MP. He's going to the next phase. He's going to be representing Tamil Nadu in Parliament. So I think strategically it works for him
Realities.
to be as a politician rather than just as an actor, because he wants to present himself as a serious politician rather than just a universal hero who everybody knows that he is talented and can do anything in the world. But today he has to step into the world of politics more seriously, and I think this is a strategy on his part as well.
Right, interesting that you say that. In fact, it's a very important point. But Sanjana, since you're the one who has dabbled in the film world amongst, for several years, in private too, do they get referred to by their names? Because we know in public stages, most of the big stars are referred to by these ceremonious titles, right? But in private too, is that the way they are referred to in the sets? How does that work? Just give us a bit of an insight.
In private, nobody even talks to them loudly or call them. It's impossible to call them by their names. So it's like, you call them sir or you with great dignity. And there's a lot of formality even to reach out to talk about a casual point. That is how I have worked, at least. I don't get too casual with my co-stars. For me, it's doing my work. I'm like, how are you, sir? Nice meeting you. But if, of course, the superstar is younger with Prabhas and all, it was like, hi, Prabhas, how are you? Because we were younger. But when it comes to working with the demigods, like maybe Kamal sir, Rajani sir, we would all call them sir. But when you go to these public events, then they get called out with Rebel Star ki jai or Tadapati ki jai or Ulaganayagan ki jai in Tamil. There are those glorious moments where you'll feel so overwhelmed with the way people are sending out so much love and calling them by their most famous names or most famous titles.
Right. Interesting that you say that, because in Kamal's statement as well, he says he thanks the audience and the society for endowing these endearing titles on him, but he's decided to walk out. We'll have to walk off this conversation for want of time. Thank you too for joining us here. We'll keep that interesting conversation going perhaps online.